Jeff Cherry,
G'day mate.
how are you?
Good.
Founder of Survival Solutions. Tell us about what Survival Solutions does, Jeff.
Well, Survival Solutions is predominantly a fire protection company. We've been established now on the coast for the past 15 years. Our business is about providing a range of fire protection services, including design, installation, maintenance, and most importantly for the community, annual fire safety statements, which is what drives a lot of our business and industry. We also provide fire awareness education and emergency management development.
And importantly, we talk about it being an incredibly competitive area, but you do have one specific advantage.
Yeah, one of the advantages that Survival Solutions has is that we employ our own tradespeople, including plumbers, electricians and sprinkler fitters. And it's very important because in order to be able to provide fire protection services to the marketplace, you must be licensed under the New South Wales Department of Fair Trading to provide electrical and plumbing related services, which is primarily what people in the fire protection industry do.
Okay. Now, you've had 15 years.
That's correct.
Family owned and operated,
Yes.
with slices of your family, I was going to say scattered through it, but it sounds a bit macabre, but you've had experiences of family business. Now it's more professionals, I guess, or skill-specific people that you've got involved.
Yeah, look, obviously, with most small businesses, it starts as a small family entity, and over the years it's grown to about 15 people. We now have a fairly structured team of people, including operations managers, wet systems managers, electrical services managers, as well as salespeople and customer service representatives. So it's expanded quite well in regards to a well-structured organisation. Obviously I sit at the top in regards to the managing director role within the business. However, my role still extends right through the whole business, right to the range of products and services that everybody provides the marketplace.
And of course we need to recognise that Julie, while she's no longer in the business, still runs your life for you, I would think, doesn't she?
Yeah, Julie, my wife, has been a big part of the creation of Survival Solutions and has probably been a steadying hand on my shoulder for many years and stopped me from making silly decisions. At times I've made decisions which have been incorrect and cost us commercially. However, she's always and still has a very firm hand on my shoulder, but she no longer works in the business full time. She's now a local paramedic at Point Clare. Cool. And loving that opportunity. So it's been a good thing for us to be able to have our own separate careers, and it's really helped the business flourish in regards to its continued growth and development.
How important has been the definition of your people's role in the business been to seeing it evolve?
Look, from the outset, one of the most difficult things about taking a small family-owned business to a larger organisation is the transition from working and being accountable to yourself to then engaging other resources and ensuring that each one of those resources is accountable for a certain given commercial outcome. And as I've matured as a business owner, I've found that probably the most critical aspect is to clearly identify and articulate what the job responsibilities are for each of those people, to establish key performance indicators so that both the staff and myself as a manager can clearly identify what the responsibilities are, and that I have the capacity to measure whether or not those people are actually achieving the outcomes that we've set out to achieve. And that's probably one of the most critical things, I think, in regards to employing people.
And it has been a journey, hasn't it? I know that we've talked for a while about this progression, and you've got to be prepared to allow it to evolve.
Look, absolutely. I mean, as you and I well know, we met each other probably a good 6 or 7 years ago, and probably the key question you asked both Julie and I at the time was, what is that you want to achieve out of this business? And we sort of had to make some decisions way back then as to where we wanted to go and what we wanted to try and do in regards to the growth of the business. And fundamentally, we made a decision then that we wanted to grow the business to the point where it was capable of functioning without our intimate involvement in the business, so that we could either move away and allow the business to operate and generate an income from it, or we could create an entity that was of value for us to sell it in the future.
Great objectives.
Yeah,
The big paddle salutes you.
that's correct.
Yes, indeed. What drives you on now, Jeff? What?
I am driven by two things. I'm driven by an ultimate need to do the right thing by the marketplace, to provide professional, concise and consistent services to the consumers on the Central Coast and in Newcastle. And so I'm driven by a level of pride in getting it right and doing it well. And I have an inherent need to help people. And that need to help people also extends to my staff, who are very dedicated and very passionate about the brand's survival solutions. And the main reason for that is that I've tried to create a community within Survival Solutions that is owned by all of the staff and not just by Julie and I. So it's an entity that I've created that provides support for a number of families now on the Central Coast, and a number of children. And I've always been very passionate about looking after my team, my community, and the way that I do that is make sure that I look after my customers.
You've scarred me with what you used to answer the phone with, and I now quote to as many people as I can. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I was very fortunate when I was younger to have spent a short period of my working life with Grace Brothers. And of course, Grace Brothers are very good on customer service. And the one key thing that I did get from that business was how they wanted to answer the phone. And they didn't allow you to answer the phone in any other way other than this particular way. And as I've gone through my business life, I've also instructed my staff. And that is basically your good morning, how may I help you? And of course, the question then invites people to put forward what it is that you're calling you about, and I think it's a very positive statement that you can make when you answer the phone to prospective customers or to your actual customers.
We might have touched on this already, but go back 15 years. What would you have liked to have known 15 years ago that you know now?
I would like to have been to have had the capacity to have looked at life as a business owner with a little bit more honesty in regards to identifying what the potential cost was going to be in regards to establishing a business from the outset and getting it to the point where we are today. And I suppose fundamentally the most important thing that I think I could have done that I didn't do accurately was to create an accurate budget, and in particular a very good chart of accounts in regards to what the business started with from the outside in regards to assets and liabilities. That would probably be one of the key elements to get the finances right, to get the budget accurate, to halve your estimated sales and double your estimated expenses.
It's not a bad formula. Not a bad formula. Okay. If there was a tip you could offer a startup business, what would that be?
I guess the thing that I would suggest to any small business, prospective small business owner, is to evaluate the products and services that you want to sell in the marketplace, determine whether or not there is already competition for that particular product and service, what the potential value of that product and service was, both initially and as you extend long term into the business, what the costs were associated in delivering that service, what the net profit was going to be, and how much money would it be, would you need to invest in that business to take it through the first 5 years. I think that's probably the most critical and fundamental assessment that anybody can make when they're looking at starting a business venture.
I have this theory, and you can comment on it because you're bigger than me, that it is either delusion or hallucination that you've just talked about. We don't get those numbers right. Why don't we get the numbers right?
I think fundamentally people start to think about going into small business when they're experiencing a level of pain from an existing set of circumstances in life, whether it be a job or family or other things, and they start to create a scenario of what they would like to achieve in the future and what they think that a particular business might do for them. But I think unfortunately in a lot of cases people see the potential of a particular product and services through rose-coloured glasses, and fundamentally I have a business now that's grown and I've managed through sheer tenacity and a lot of good luck to get it to where it is today. But
big guy, it hasn't been anything, it hasn't been good luck, it has been sheer tenacity. I have seen it. There has been very little luck involved.
Thank you.
Very little. And it's only your passion and Julie and your commitment to your clients that's got you through. That'll be the end of the commercial now. Then what about liability then?
Look, Mark, fundamentally, from the outset of my business, I have created it and established it with money that I had in equity. And unfortunately, in some cases, I think I used that equity that I had in my home irresponsibly. And over the times, one of the most dangerous aspects of running a small business is to rely on that equity initially without fundamentally being disciplined in regards to running a business. And when I say disciplined, if you are disciplined in regards to fulfilling your obligations in regards to superannuation, taxation and paying your suppliers, then what it forces you to do is to be disciplined in regards to how you run and administer your business. And I think that that's probably one of the most critical aspects in running and sustaining a successful business long term.
So you're saying it takes you to developing and finding new business and what you charge for your clients?
Yeah, look, I think the critical aspect it is that once you understand what your expenses are going to be and you make an absolute commitment to fulfilling the obligations of those expenses and you don't incur those liabilities over a longer period of time, then what it forces you to do is to go back and have a look at where is the income going to come from and how much is it going to cost you to get that income. Okay, and when you do that, when you look at the numbers first and you look at the total liability, you then go out and you start to determine where is it that you're going to generate enough income to actually fulfill those obligations. That's when you start to create the picture about what your products and services are going to look like, what the value of those products and services are going to be, and what you need to get in return for it. And in some cases, in the early instances of business, if you do that evaluation, you may actually work out that what you think is going to be a successfully commercial business is in fact going to be a liability, and all it will do is it will eat into the equity of your home until there's no equity left, and when you have no equity the banks won't lend you any money and your business will fall over. And I believe fundamentally that's why a lot of businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Okay, I feel like I've just sat through a rant there, but have you thought about if you could leave something, if you could change something in business now? Is it about the quality of service that I guess the industry delivers? Because there's a lot of unqualified people in your industry, aren't there?
Look,
do you want to go there?
I suppose as far as a rant is concerned, for me in my particular industry, the fire protection industry, fundamentally what drives it is the customers need to get the obligations as far as annual fire safety statements for buildings. But ultimately, The reason that we have fire safety and the reason that we have to meet the obligations of the building code and the Australian standards is to really achieve two things. And those two things are to protect building occupants, including your staff, okay, and to ensure that your asset, being your building and your business, is protected from fire. We are very fortunate in Australia that we have a fairly good set of building codes and Australian standards that give us a set of guidelines that we can use today to help prevent tragedies in the future. And what my job in my industry is about interpreting those standards and supporting our customers in regards to being able to fulfil those obligations, protect building occupants and their assets.
Yeah, okay. We all need to understand that. Jeff Terry,
Mark Cleary.
you survived.
Thank you very much.